spotlights shine them bright. Gonna have a grand new show tonight with glitz and glam on the marquee. Perhaps a Tony nominee. Stars beam brightly, see them glow. Sell out nightly, SRO. It's time to applaud the Broadway beat. Stars beam brightly, see them glow in the footlights of a show. Life is sweet on the world's most famous street.
Tickets, please.
Take a seat
Cue the band.
and tap your feet to the rhythm of the Broadway beat. The Broadway beat. Broadway beat.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge, and welcome to Broadway Beat, our behind-the-scenes look at the very best of what the New York theater has to offer. Well, the holiday season is upon us, so this week we take a look at two family shows that should help put you in the spirit. We'll drop by the St. James Theater, where Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas the musical, is once again playing to packed houses. Returning as the Grinch is the wonderful Patrick Page. But we start things off at the WAMU Theater at Madison Square Garden, where the world-famous Cirque du Soleil has put together a special show specifically for New York. It's called Wintuk. It runs through January 6, 2008. It tells the enchanting tale of one boy's quest for snow and his adventures in the land known as Wintuk. We recently caught up with the creators of this magical holiday experience.
Dans un premier temps, évidemment, c'est
First of all,
premier mandat que j'ai.
my first mandate
de créer une histoire,
was to create a story
créer une histoire et de faire des choix
and make choices
et de créer une histoire qui permettrait
to create a story
de raconter une histoire à la famille avec
for family with the giant puppets, with the acrobatics worlds, with the multimedia.
Alors évidemment, je n'ai voulu commencer.
Obviously, I could not work this visualization and writing,
seulement après avoir vu la salle.
but only after I saw the stage at Madison Square
Je
Garden.
ne voulais pas commencer à créer sans avoir vu cette salle pour voir le volume.
I did not want to start before seeing the space here, the energy of the space,
Et quel élément j'allais trouver
and what elements or what puppets I'm gonna create to bring this energy to the stage and the public,
et comment j'allais réussir à trouver
and how I could succeed
des moyens
to find energetic means to put this in relation these giant puppets with the acrobatics world,
et comment tout ça peut
and how
histoire au public.
all of that can tell a story to the public.
Alors comme on savait, le cirque acceptait pour ce spectacle.
The cirque accepted to utilize small songs for the show.
Ouais. Évidemment, ce n'est pas du tout une comédie musicale.
But this is not a musical.
Non. Mais c'est très amusant.
But what is interesting,
La marionnette géante,
the giant puppet sings to the public small musical keys,
petite respiration musicale
the small musical respites, if you want,
pour permettre au public familial
to allow the family public to follow our story
dans la quête de l'enfant
and to follow the quest of the child towards Wintuk.
The first challenge we had here, it was the height of this room, because normally we at least work on an environment of 45, 50 feet height. Here we are at 20 feet, so it's really low compared to the other one. So the challenge was to work much more in the width instead of in the height performances. It's much more important for the artist, the acrobat, than it was for me. I have to adjust every equipment for this particular criteria here, but they have to modify how they move or how the way they do things, like the Russian bar here. Normally we doing Russian bar in much more higher than it is here. So we transformed the number to perform more horizontal than height. So that was much more a challenge for the designer of the acrobatic number than it was for me. But the other challenge I had here, it was to fit inside a theater is already built with a set and every other apparatus that we bring it here in a 5-day setup. So we built everything in Montreal, we assembled everything in Montreal, we rehearsed in Montreal and bring everything here, and we had 5 days to put everything up and be ready to perform. So that was also a really big challenge. If you just take a look about how big the set is, it was really a big challenge, and we're talking about 19 tractor trailer truck, so it's a pretty huge set.
You gotta follow the great white bird.
Well, for us, it was a unique opportunity to do a show specifically for a theater, because usually we have. Normally, for the last few years, we've designed theaters for the show. Now we design the show for the theater, and obviously coming in, having this invitation to come into 10 weeks into the city is a great opportunity, and we're all very thrilled. The creative team and whole Cirque du Soleil enterprise was really thrilled at the idea of coming into Manhattan Island, being right in the center in the Madison Square Gardens, which is, we wouldn't have thought that possible maybe 25 years ago, and as we go on. So it was a great opportunity for us to conceive a show that was different, that challenged us creatively, but at the same time make it work for this room. And that's basically how we feel about the show. We're all very, very thrilled to be here and excited, because it's a unique way of doing a Cirque du Soleil show for this show. Wintuk is a combination. It's an exploration, and it's also a combination of performance and puppetry. We started working on this show with an idea of doing a winter theme show, and working on an idea of doing a show for the whole family. Like Cirque du Soleil shows, a lot of parents bring their kids to Cirque du Soleil shows, and that's fine, but they're not necessarily conceived for a family or for young children, or for children. So this time we started going to the idea of telling a story, and this time of year is very inspiring, because as the colder it gets outside, the more we look for warmth somewhere, and the more we get a sense of the gathering. The celebration of the winter solstice is pre-Christianity, and it's pre-all organized religion. We've always celebrated the solstice. We've always gathered together in the hope of the return of the sun, and the sun giving us warmth and so on. So there's a metaphor around that young boy's quest, that story of a young boy's quest that we're telling, who's looking for the snow, which is not happening. When will that snow come back, or when will I see it happening again? So all these elements of telling a story, using puppetry, working in this unique room, making a design that would work specifically for this room, has been one of the most challenging aspects of the work that we started just 1 year ago.
Well, there is about 250 costumes in the show, and it's quite a challenge, because this is a creation, and it's a new formula for the cirque, because usually we don't play in theater, we play in the big top. And it was a completely new challenge, the way the production was done in 6 months instead of 2 years. Anyway, we're still in learning from that experience.
And up to today, what's been the best part of this experience for you with working on this production?
It was designing it. But right now we're facing reality. You have to put your ideas this is one thing, but now you have to adapt it to the choreography and the scenic, and we're living that through. And I think it will, by Saturday, we'll be holding the show together, I hope. But we're still working in progress.
The first time, like a year ago, I came over here in the theater of WAMU Theater in Madison Square Garden, and I saw this strange house. And the ceiling was so low, huge, 4,000 seats. So first we decided just to take off like the first seats and bring the stage in the front of the proscenium and use just the back of the proscenium and the fly just for the video. So bringing the set in the front, we had much more space, so we were able to design this more than 100 feet set. So, and also with the loggia that you can see on the sides, I decided to bring from the loggia, the action from the loggia to the stage. So it's where we decide also to do a skate act. So the skaters start from the loggia, go on stage in the back, and go back to the other loggia on the other side. So they cross the stage. So even if the house is huge, everyone is part of the show. Visually and about the design, the idea came from the stratus that the wind do in the snow. So when the wind blow in the snow, it's making waves in the snow. So I thought that it was the best way to do the stage and to divide the part of the stage without having lines in the stage.
It's a happy music. It's you come here, you see the show, and you leave with little pieces of songs, melodies, and groove. It's an energetic music and mostly happy music. Yeah.
So, is there a style to writing for Cirque du Soleil?
Is there a style? I guess so, but it's not that way it's working. Like we have first part of the show is more in the city, so the music is a blend into we have jazz music blended into hip hop, different kind of groove, and we see what's going on with the artist on stage with that kind of music, and then we adjust, we push the jazz, we lower the jazz, we mix all, we blend this. It's more kind of a global music for the first act. Second act is more ethnic. It's more we're going some places else. We're not in the city anymore. We're more in the Great White North. So there we have more the ethnic music, and we use lots of different material. We use little pieces of wood, all kind of ethnical, strange instrument that we can have. We create the music with that.
Last season, one of the most successful and profitable holiday shows was Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical. Well, it's back, this time at the St. James Theater, where it runs through January 6, 2008. Returning is Patrick Page as the grumpy green Grinch who wants to cancel Christmas for the lovable Whos. Joining him in the role of Old Max is Ed Dixon. Now, the classic book for which the musical is based is celebrating its 50th anniversary. On hand for the celebration was Terry Hatcher, one of the stars from the popular television series Desperate Housewives. She warmed up the opening night audience by reading from this timeless tale.
But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
I knew the story, of course, but when I started reading the script, I just loved this version. And I learned the entire version that they did last year, and then I found out that we're doing a new one, so then I learned a new one. And this is a huge step up writing-wise and song-wise from last year. I get to introduce 2 new songs, which is so thrilling, and I love the music, and the story is so much more meaningful than you expect it to be. Like, I get all teary every time, and so do a lot of other adults. It's really a very dear story.
Like I said, I was here twice today. I saw the early show today and cried at the end of that. And I cried. It's really hard. It's heart touching, this whole story. Truly. Talk about the audience's reaction, because you play with them every night.
It's fantastic. I mean, they're simply gaga for it. And when the confetti fires off at the end and it snows, I mean, the kids just go out of their minds. It's so thrilling to be a part of, and to work with Patrick Page. I mean, he's simply fantastic every day, and the nuance that he brings to it and the way he interacts with the children, it's always fresh and new. It's really thrilling.
Hey, let's talk about what you love about this role of Max, because you play old Max.
Yes, he's the narrator, and the situation is it's an old dog who's going off. He's on his last legs, and he's going off to die. And so before he goes to die, he wants to remember this wonderful thing that happened. So the whole thing is a memory play in the mind of this old dog as he's going off to climb up the mountain and disappear. And so it gives every moment of the play, for me, this magical quality of seeing something for the last time. Something that I love. It moves me very much. It really does.
All the things I feel,
were they ever really real?
All the things I feel, this time of year.
Oh, it's just incredible. And, I had such a great time last year. It's a show that you may have known, I'd done before in San Diego, and bringing it to New York last year was so exciting. And, I thought nothing could top that. And then this year, we started rehearsals, and we put all this new material into the show. They're new songs. We've reworked scenes. We're in a new theater. And, believe it or not, it's actually more fun this year. As much fun as I've had last year, it's been such a wonderful experience. And this cast this year is wonderful. And everything just gelled and came together, and we're just having a blast in the St. James. It's like the audience is right with us, so it feels intimate, and we can really work with them. And it's just been, previews have been a blast, and now that we've opened, I think we're just going to have a great time. So
talk about this great fun role you get to play.
I play Max the dog, so it's I get to wag a tail, and I wear paws, and I get an antler put on my head, and when I first created the role, I got to work on, how does a dog move? How does a dog move his head? How does he, turn his hips? How does he walk? How does he run? And so that was really fun. And then, we took it one level further. After I kind of worked with the movement, I started thinking, in the show I speak and sing, and I have a relationship with the Grinch. I talk with him, so I kind of take it one step further, and it's, I started thinking, how do dogs communicate with their owners and vice versa? And I started walking around, and you watch owners with their dogs, and there are these conversations going on. Literally, humans will talk to their dogs, and the dogs will sort of talk back. And I just started watching the facial expressions between dog and owner, and kind of integrating that into what I was doing in the show. And it was, that's kind of how I put together Max, and it was really fun. So,
what's been the most fun with doing this show?
Well, there's something about being in New York on Broadway, telling a great story. I mean, Dr. Seuss' How the Grinch Stole Christmas has been, it was published in 1957, and to my knowledge, it was, I think, almost an instant classic. I think it was immediately his most popular book. And so there's something about telling that story right here in New York with, audiences that come in every night so enthusiastic. After we do the show, we come out, and there's always kids out waiting to say hello, to get autographs. And, I talked to some of them, and many of them have never seen a show before. This is the first show they've seen. And, for one thing, I'm so honored that their first show is How the Grinch Stole Christmas that we're doing. But also, it really feels good to know that, what we did just set a precedence for, their first theatrical experience. And hopefully it just gets better for them from there. So it's really kind of wonderful to see that every night.
Well, I play Auntie Who, and I understudy Jan Newberger as Grandma Who, and I'm also the voice of the mouse. And that's about it. It's just a great little fun. We have our own storylines going, like I'm the mother of so-and-so and the aunt of such and such, but it's a wonderful Whoville world.
Tell me when you were first aware of this story originally.
Oh my gosh! It's one of the first cartoons that I, ever watched on. And I own it. I think my whole family owns it. We watched The Grinch, Rudolph, and the White Christmas. So I've known this story forever. And now when I look back at it, it's such a beautiful story. Really is. It has such a great message. Whether it be Christmas or not.
I'm playing Papa who is, of course, Cindy Lou Who's dad. And it's a really special opportunity and role because this is it's really all about are learning something from the next generation. Who Cindy Lou comes at this whole thing with this amazing outlook of love and energy and positivity, and all of us have kind of gotten a little bit swept up with the whole Christmas thing, and we're able to eventually, by the end of it, see something and learn something from her that is about what the whole message of the show is about.
You've done something to my heart, so this is how you'll always stay, my Santa for a day. This will be your song, you and I belong, heart to heart, together, Christmas Day. I play Cindy Lou Who, and Cindy Lou Who's a fun role to play because she's bubbly, and she's I kind of think of her as she kind of reminds, I don't know, well,
It's really fun to play, right?
yeah, she kind of reminds me of I don't know what she reminds me of actually, yeah.
Well, listen, when was the first time you saw it on TV? Do you remember seeing How the Grinch Stole Christmas on TV?
Actually, that's my favorite movie. I have five of the same movie from there because I kept on losing the tape and I kept on having to make my parents go buy it again and buy it again. I was actually watching it the other day with my friend.
Continuing, you're making your Broadway debut here. What's it like?
Debut. It's absolutely thrilling, and it couldn't be in a more fun situation. The cast is so fun. The show is fun. The timing of the show worked out great. So it's absolutely a thrill, and to be in this theater with so much history, and it's thrilling. It's thrilling. Yeah.
And you get to play a Who.
I'm a Who in Whoville. I'm a Who.
I'm one of a kind. Do you mind? One of a kind. Do you think I'm blind? I love being one of a kind. Get used to it.
I don't remember exactly. I think I was around 8 years. Well, no, I was probably older than 8, but I was probably around 8 years old around in there when it came out. I remember getting the book, reading the book, memorizing the book, and then performing it every year, doing the voice, doing the gestures, doing the Grinch smile every year. Not just when I was 8, when I was 9, 10, 17, 18, 22, I would make people listen to me do it every year. So the fact of the matter is, I've been doing this for over 30 years. It's just the audience who's seeing me do it for these 2 years.
Take me back to the beginning. How did this all come about for you, first time around with this?
Well, I remember seeing that Jack O'Brien was doing an adaptation of How the Grinch Stole Christmas in San Diego 10 years ago and thinking to myself, oh, how I would love to do that. And then it came up later on that they were going to be doing it on Broadway, and there was a workshop, and I went into an audition like any other actor, auditioned, and, did my best, and thank goodness they offered me the part.
Talk about what it was like working with Jack O'Brien originally, because he conceived this whole project.
Yeah. Well, Jack came back this year and did a lot of hands-on work on the show. He was in the workshop as well last year, the first one that I did, but it's primarily directed by Matt August. And then Jack came back in and, did his Jack O'Brien magic, because he conceived it and created it, so he really knows what every single moment is about. So it's those kinds of tweaks that really, I think, bring it to life in a new way.
And talk about the costume and the makeup. How long does it take to put it on? Has it gotten does it take less time now this year? Talk about that.
It does. It started out, Angelina Avallone does the makeup. She did it for Young Frankenstein. She does it for Little Mermaid. She designed the makeup, but in my case, she also paints my face every night. And that's such a rare privilege to have the actual designer be the person who executes it on your face. And what that meant is that I was able to collaborate with her a lot. And I studied makeup from the time I was a little kid, so I was able to collaborate with her a lot, and we're able to have a back and forth. So the makeup's evolved over 2 years. And it started out probably taking about 2 hours, because she has to do it all freehand. And then as, we get more and more, I was going to say more and more better at it, it goes faster and faster. So it's down to about an hour now, and then 10 minutes or so to put on the costume.
And what part during your preparation process do you see him coming around the corner?
Oh, it probably doesn't happen really until the very end. I need to get the hands on. The wig goes on, the head goes on, and then I put the hands on. And usually when I put the hands on, I've got some funky versions of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. And I'll put that on, put the hands on, look in the mirror, and, my work is done.